this is Lisa with creativek9s.blogspot.com, and this is Copic tutorial number 6. We're working on coloring hair, and I'm going to give you some tips and tricks for coloring hair because I personally feel that hair is one of the most difficult things to color for me. And I've had a lot of questions about how to color hair, and we're going to start with blondes. I think blonde is the easiest hair color to color, although it's one of the hardest colors to get right. I'm working with Princess and the Pea from Pixie Dust Studios' new release called Pass the Peas. And one of the tips I have is I always color the face last after the hair. And the reason is sometimes you'll get some bleeding from the hair just because you may need to work in a lot of color. I also almost always use some kind of a picture for reference. And I mentioned before in another video, one of my very favorite things to do is to use American Girl's catalog, or you can use magazines. My very favorite hair color, and I came up with this on my own, I modified a lot of different blondes because I have a daughter who's very blonde, and to try to get just the right color for her blonde, I use YR23, Y21, Y11, Y000, and Y00. That's my favorite blonde combination. Although there's a lot of people will use the Y17, 15, 13, 11 combination. You can do that also. That's more of a yellow blonde. This to me is a little bit more of a realistic blonde, and to me, her head is tilted this direction. So to me, the light source is coming from this way. And if my light source is coming from this way, it's going to be lighter on this side of her hair than it is on here because the light opposes the dark. Okay? So, and hair is colored differently. And you almost color backwards. You color frontwards and then you color backwards, and I'll show you what I mean. So for me, I'm going to start in the bottom here, and I always work in a small section at a time. The tip is everything closest to the image's face is going to be the darkest. Now, I'm not going to use a whole lot of this YR23. Now, you can to get an even darker blonde, but for me, everybody who's blonde is my daughter's color's blonde. I don't know, maybe you all do that too. The colors too, because they're not part of a natural blending group, they are going to be a little bit harder to blend, and that's similar. That's going to be the same way for most of all the hair colors. Most hair colors, you're not going to be using everything directly from a blending group. I went with my YR23, then my Y21. I'm going to go now with my Y11. Now, based upon this, my lightest area is going to be there. Okay. After I get my Y11, I'm now going to go in with my Y00. Now, blondes, I have noticed that when they have highlights, their highlights are almost white. And this is Y000 here. Now, in order for this to stick out or to be able to be noticed, you need to have a darker color next to it. So I'm going to go back around here and blend in my Y00 to my Y000 here. Okay, also I'm going to have some lightness on the top of this curl. The darkest portion is going to be here on the inside of the curl. Use my YR23, followed by my Y21. Y11. Okay. I do like to use a lot more blending colors than probably most people do. I feel like it gives me a better idea of a smoother color. There we go. Now I'm going to go back through here and add a little bit more dark. My YR23. Very light touch with the dark. Might add more dark here too. I just want my colors to be a little bit more pronounced. Y11. Now remember, if the light source is coming from this direction, we want that to be the lightest area right here. And now, because I have that dark color there, you really are able to start seeing the light as it's being put in. Now, if I still don't have that as light as I want, sometimes what I'll do is I'll go back with my colorless blender and I will highlight that even more. Okay. Let's look at this other side here. Once again, everything closest to her face is going to be the darkest with my YR23. It's just a general rule. Now we know that this area is going to be darker over here anyway, right? Because it's opposing the light. The light's coming from this direction, right? This is going to be the darkest. The face is throwing a shadow on the hair. But we're going to have a highlight in a similar area here. Because her hair curls up, she is going to have a highlight on that. Don't be afraid to use a lot of these colors together. I think the more color that you have, I think it really acts to make things more smooth. And I personally like that. I really think blending it's more of a process than it is you don't just finish blending. I mean, I might go back over this 3 or 4 more times. I'm gonna add my lightest in here. I did add a little bit of the darker, the Y00 over on this side, and I'm gonna kind of fade this in with the side of my marker a little bit. And the reason I did that is to be able to see that light color. I'll go back in with my dark color. And I'm going to warn you guys, this may end up being 2 videos, but never fear. I just want to make sure you have the information. Hair can be difficult. Or as they say in sheer genius, hair is important. Although I didn't get to see who won. That might be a little off the topic, but that was the first thing that came to my mind when I started doing hair. Hair is important. Okay. Now I'm going to come back in here with my Y quadruple 0 for my little highlight. Okay. Now once again, she's got a little bit of a highlight up here on that curl, and I'm going to add in my dark, because you don't get to see how light that is unless you add in the dark. You have to have contrast in an image for it to be interesting, but also for you to be able to tell where that color is coming from. Okay, I have my dark there, my light. Okay, now we're going to work on the top. Now once again, I'm going to warn you, we may need to put this in 2 videos. It's okay, I'm just taking my time today, because I think hair is difficult and I think people have a lot of questions. Now, because this little pixie does not have lines in her hair, and someone had said before, and I think it was Colleen, I'm not sure, or it could have been Pat, said that they were having a hard time because the lines threw them off in the hair. To me, I like the lines. They give me an idea of what direction the hair is going, but if you don't have that, this is her natural part. So I would work this in 2 areas, this area and this area, okay? And I'm going to once again lay in my darkest color. Now, everything closest to the light, which is the light source, is this direction, okay? Everything closest to this light source is going to be lighter, okay? So everything farthest away is going to be darker. And I always try to work in sections because hair dries too quick. These markers, you know, they stay wet for just a short period of time. And I'm in Arizona, so the hotter it gets, the less time I have where my markers stay wet. That was Gibson. He's not all that concerned about how wet my markers stay, he said. He's trying to sleep and I'm annoying him. Okay, I'm going to add my Y11. And I